So this thing about productive inclusion, it's a difficult one. I didn't know about it until a couple of years ago. I was sitting in a job talk by the person who we actually ended up hiring, and I actually ended up writing this chapter with. And Yiren Wang said that productive inclusion is the process of including the perspectives of those who are typically excluded. Let me just say that again. Is the process of inclusion of those whose perspectives are typically excluded. So yeah, it has to do with diversity and inclusion, but it's a little bit bigger than that. What she was saying is that if you cannot ever relate to somebody's perspective, if my universe is so far away from your universe, from their universe, I will never, as a manager, make an effort to productively include your perspective in my decision. And we're not just talking about, marginalized people or different genders or different religions or different generations. We can even have extraordinary biases about people who don't think the same way we do, or about people who have, since we were talking so much about cognition here, people who have different learning methods, different learning mechanisms. As a professor, I really have to think about how do I tailor my class to people who learn differently. So typically excluded from your thoughts, from our society, from our universe. Who do we typically exclude? People we cannot relate to, people whose experience is so different than ours. The reality, and that actually she says this in the chapter, that this is a very, very expensive mistake at the national level, at the company level, at the sort of like society level. It's very, very expensive to exclude those who we cannot relate to. And what she's saying is that managers, leaders, people like you and I, we have to proactively tailor to this typically excluded people to capture impact, because they can create impact. But if you never include them, how are they going to create impact, right? So it's not just about understanding the perspective of others. It's trying to literally put yourself in their situation and then try to find a way to tailor the inclusion. Once again, tailoring the inclusion. Anywhere from, like I said, understanding that somebody who doesn't have the same educational background that you do doesn't have access to the same things you do.